October 25th, Tuesday. It begins innocently enough. Tuesday morning arrives like any other day before it, bright and clear. Even though it comes with an extra helping of the unusual October weather, I appreciate being able to catch a glimpse of the clear skies lately. After going through a bout of sickness last week, it does something to lift the mood of what would otherwise be a dreary morning. And despite being mostly a creature of habit, I wind up waking earlier than usual because of it. Still no earlier than Isabella, it appears. I've assumed she'll take a day or two off because of what happened to Miss Cooper, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, so this is, apparently then this is the 25th. This is after Rose dies then, right? Gotta be in here somewhere. I don't know, Rose died at some point before this. Okay, so 25th. Yeah, on the 23rd, Rose died. But nope. Isabella, we decided to go to work as Isabella. The sound of the morning news drifts from her unit, and I walk past on the way to my mailbox. Chances are, around this hour, she's already dressed and ready to go, probably just waiting for the next bus to arrive. I've tried following her example before, but I don't think I'll be repeating that.
Really? How can anyone be up before the sun is up?
Rather, I'm still awake while the sun is going up. That's just my schedule, though. It's a habit she got from home, she said, instilled in her by the kind of life she grew up in. Oh yeah, in the Philippines, people wake up fucking early, and the sun rises are really early too. Like clockwork. It's always at 4 AM. I need to help with the chores or prepare her little siblings for school. It surprised me the first time. She didn't look like someone who could. In the end, I've simply passed it off as one of the many things anyone will have to get used to around her. Not that I'll ever fully understand. I'm my parents' only child. We aren't well off, but so far, I've lived a relatively easy life. I didn't have to think about bills or food for the next day, or paying for any siblings' tuition on top of my own, or supporting a sick father's medication. All I have to worry about were my grades. If it gained mum and dad's approvals, or da? It's not even dad, it's just da. Da's approval, or what we'd be having for dinner. When put next to hers, they'll pale in comparison. They look less like problems and more like petty issues this way.
Petty issues?
To be fair, anything looks like petty issues if you compare it to like a child in Africa. But as unimportant as it all sounds, sometimes its ugly head rears at the most inappropriate moments. And sometimes they come through your mailbox in the form of a fancy-looking letter, pretty ribbons and all. Who the what? Whoever sent this has spent silly money on the envelope alone. Verging on ridiculous, really. Oh, is this the invitation letter from Hana's, welcoming party? I can only imagine Isabella wrinkling her nose when she sees this. Then she'll complain about unnecessary expenses and rich people problems. I'm always afraid, or almost afraid to touch it myself. As if simply brushing a hand against its crisp surface will be enough to put a crease on it, and it'll be a terribly slight to the sender. But as extravagant as I find it, it isn't my first time I've received one. Most of the time, it's not even for me, so who am I to complain? Either way, no look of surprise crosses my face once I flip the envelope over to see my parents' name written in her neat script.
Nothing new then.
Of course, nothing's ever for Rebecca, is it, huh? Always for Alyssa, Gales, and Alistair, whoever the fuck those are. Well, they're our parents. Their years in the academy naturally broad with its various connections. People from other fields. Art, science, business, politics, you name it. This one, though, gives off a much personal vibe. Letters like this usually come from old students, people who've grown fond of my parents, and they, in turn, treat like children of their own. I've only met them a few of them. Most have moved on to become successful in their chosen careers, and little letters like this are their way of expressing gratitude. It's one thing Mom and Da are proud of, so it's not a typo. She actually calls her dad Da. Rightfully so, and I'm happy for them. But there are times I wish they'll remember that they have a daughter here. The real one, yeah, what about me, Ma and Da? Not that it's of any importance now. It's not like they didn't raise me well and provided for me. They did. I wouldn't be here where I am now if it weren't for their hard work. I'm like a dutiful child. I do everything I can to give back. Even if it's a small thing, as letting them know they've got another meal waiting for them. The question is, why are we getting a letter that's intended for them sent to us, right? Like, we don't live in the same house anymore. I mean, Rebecca moved out of our house, I'm assuming. Unless this is where the parents or the family lived at first, and the parents actually moved out, and now Rebecca's living here, meaning they got the same address. I don't fucking know, but it's a bit weird. The phone rings for a good minute before someone answers. Mum. Her voice as warm as I can remember.
Becca?
Mummy.
Hi, Mum. How's the conference going?
Well enough. Until your dad sprained his ankle.
Oh no, is it bad?
God damn it, dog.
I'm alright. In case anyone in this family cares to listen, I'm alright. Very much alive, darling.
And there you have it. He'll be up and walking in a few weeks, don't worry. We're going to have to extend our stay here until it heals, though. Is something the matter?
Nothing big. Just that this mail arrived for you this morning.
A lie. Thankfully, she doesn't notice. Although, if I'm going to be honest, a small part of me yearns for her to do so and ask me about it. But I put down that idea almost as soon as it surfaces. It kind of sounds like she still lives with her parents, but her parents sort of went away on whatever it was, a conference or whatever. I shouldn't make them fret. They're busy.
What does it say?
Raise your glasses, give cheers to the good times, blah blah.
Becca manners. That isn't how I taught you to read.
Oh, sorry. Blah, 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 blah.
Sorry. You are cordially... it's an invitation, Mum, for a housewarming party. From, Hana?
Hona? The name rings a bell, though at the moment, I can't recall when or where I've heard it before recently. It must be nothing too important if I didn't bother committing it to memory. Yeah. Hana's not important to remember. There are a lot of Hanas in the world, so who knows? I mean, there are a lot of Rebeccas in the world too.
Hana.
Even Mom is sort of like struggling. Hana. Sounds familiar. I don't know from where though. Who the fuck is Hana?
She also wrote you a note, Mum. It says you used to be her private tutor at the Evans Mansion, and that she misses you and would love to see you two again.
Wow. Kind of sucks to read that about your own parents from just a random stranger, right? Kind of to us. Another child. Wow. It makes my heart clench to read another openly letter say those words to them. The same ones I want to tell them. I want to see you too. It's been years since we've been together as family. And if there's one thing that hasn't changed from childhood, it's that Mom and Dad are still busy with their respective careers. Out of the country, away on some meeting or symposium, sometimes for months on end. It only grew more frequent with the years until I'm old enough to live on my own. I'd like to think that's how I've become independent at such an early age. They've always praised me for that. Well, it feels more like we didn't have any choice. At times, I wish they didn't.
Evans? Oh, I remember now.
Yes, Hana, of course.
Honey, it's Hana. Hana Evans.
Oh.
Remember? Bright girl, 2 years older than Becca.
No fucking clue.
Didn't she get married a few years ago? 7 now, I think. But, they grow up so fast, these kids.
Yeah, she invited us to that too. Fonte de Medici.
Oh yeah, Medici.
But we missed that one because you had to present your paper in Singapore.
We did send her a note after. Still a shame we couldn't attend, though. What is it about this time?
She sent another invite for a housewarming party.
Am I really listening to another conversation while I'm on the phone with my mom?
Becca, when is it?
God damn it.
This Friday, Mum.
Oh, that's too bad. We'd love to be there, but Da's not in a condition to go walking around.
You can get a wheelchair?
I guess we'd have to decline again. I really miss that girl.
Wow. I miss you too, Mom. Thanks.
I could go in your place.
I let it slip without thinking. Personally, I've never been fond of gatherings, regardless of how simple people make it seem. But if there's one thing I hate hearing, that disappointed note in Mom's voice always ranks first. whether it's directed at me or some other thing doesn't matter.
Are you sure? Don't you have work this Friday?
The event will be in the evening, Mum. It shouldn't take anything away from my schedule. It's all right. The invite's for 2 people. I can bring someone with me so things don't get boring.
Exactly, like Ash, right? Oh.
I see. Maybe you can also invite Ashton?
Mom! Mom! Oh, she's still trying to couple us together, huh?
Mum, that's a sure no from him. He hates attending parties.
God damn it, Mom, always trying to embarrass me.
But I'll see what I can do. If not, I can always bring Isabella with me. You know her. She won't say no if there's food involved.
Of course not.
Okay, if it's not going to be a big problem for you, I don't see why not. We owe you this one, darling.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
No problem, Mum. I'll even say hi to Hana for you.
Please do. And let her know we'd love to see her once we're back in the city. Leave her our number or something.
I will.
But you know, the 2 of you would have become really good friends. Don't you remember? You met with her once. If my memory serves me right, you were 12 then?
I don't fucking know. This too, I can't recall. It's probably one of those meetings where we only talked a bit before going our ways. If she did leave an impression, I'm pretty sure I would have written about it somewhere, or at least recognized her name. As it is, the only few people I remember clearly from that time in my life is Ashton, and Mandy. Who's Mandy? To some extent. Mom must have sensed my confusion because she laughs.
Don't push yourself too hard, darling. Really? It felt like having 2 daughters back then. Sometimes I wish they didn't send her away to boarding school. But, well, you know how often that goes with them.
Like, is the mom is like not being considerate of Rebecca, her only daughter at all, right? She's like, oh yeah, it's like having 2 daughters back then. Don't you think that that would kind of hurt your only daughter by just saying that straight to her face?
Still, try talking to her while you're there.
Oh, we'll see. I'll let you know what happens after.
I'm looking forward to it, darling. Take care of yourself.
Will do. You too, Mum. Bye. Tell Da to be careful next time.
She chuckles, then. A hearty one, tender and always light on the ears. She may be a stern teacher, but this is the part of her I love the most. The sound of it still echoes even as our call comes to an abrupt end, bringing with it a memory from so many years ago, when life and responsibilities that accompany adulthood are things far from our minds. If given a chance, I'd love to go back to those. I don't dwell on it though, shaking it all away almost as soon as the memory forms a clear picture in my head. I've always wondered how Isabella can easily pretend everything's normal over a phone call, then bounce back to her usual self immediately after. I've seen her do it plenty of times. For me, it just drains whatever energy I have. And with a whole day of teaching still ahead of me, I can't afford to look exhausted in front of my students, even for a wee bit. It's never a good example to set. So, with another sigh, I put everything at the back of my mind and tread back to my room. The rest of my day awaits. 15 minutes later, I'm heading back out, dressed for the day, my car keys in hand. Ordinarily, I don't stop for anything. There's never a need to. I would not even dare to step foot in my car again after what happened last night. That's the beauty of this apartment complex. It's quiet and everyone keeps to themselves. No useless platitudes in the morning. No need to wear a smile on your face lest other people are nosy enough to ask. Today, however, the morning broadcast still plays from Isabella's room. My brisk pace slows to a stop, and a frown gradually forms in my face.
She hasn't left.
Of course, this isn't unusual. There are times when I've left earlier than she did, like last Friday, before their open house. But those days are few and far between. It only happens in the direst circumstances, though the last part of that might be a bit of an exaggeration. However, with what happened in the last few days, maybe today is one. The death of a friend isn't something anyone can brush off. And for someone like Isabella, yeah, I would consider a friend dying that would be dire circumstances. Isabella's the kind who gets attached to people easily. With Zachary, Ashton, and I, that has always been the case. I can't imagine what she might be going through right now, especially when the woman she was someone she owed a lot, despite her training being brief. I've given her the space last night in deference, but perhaps today might be the proper time to check on her.
Oh, whatever. I've still got time anyway.
With light steps, I move closer to her door, hand already poised to knock. Still, I don't do so until I hear her answer me.
Isabella? Belle? Are you in there?
Hello? No answer. After a second, I finally knock, lightly so I don't disturb her, in case she's sleeping and has merely left the telly running last night. Never mind how she never lets that happen. Ever. Waste of electricity and all.
I just want to check on you before I leave. Is that okay?
Isabella?
Are you going to work today? Belle?
Still nothing.
I'm about to leave. If you want, I can drop you off.
And then around the knocking, I think Isabella sort of just left, right? And I guess she forgot to keep the television or to turn it off. Then I'm fishing out a copy of her key from my bag and unlocking the door. She lent it years ago, after I complained about the mess and offered my help in cleaning up. I thought the gesture was completely unnecessary back then. After all, I could always knock. But she never did bother taking them from me, always returning it, or turning away from the conversation whenever I insist. At one point, she knew it would come in handy. I've simply stopped trying to hand it back to her.
Isabella? I'm coming in, alright?
I mean, it's usually something people do, right? Give their spare keys to their neighbor, just like in case of emergency or whatever. Without waiting for her answer, I push the door open and step inside. Her unit's still a mess. Instant noodle cups on the table, a pile of clothes on one side, papers strewn about everywhere, and an unkempt bed, among other things. This much is a given, will always be a given. I've been here several times already, and I still wonder how she can function like a human being with the place in this state. However, neither here nor there. I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but it's certainly not finding an empty flat. Granted, she could have left earlier, far earlier than usual, but she never ever leaves without making sure she's unplugged everything. That's something she does not forget to do. It doesn't help that her bathroom appears unused this morning, under her habit, and it can only mean she hasn't been here since last night? Perhaps even since the morning after Miss Cooper's death. Either idea doesn't sit well with me, or with the news we've been hearing lately. Oh, this is because, right after, the death, or the day after Rose's death, Isabella goes to her work. At the work, she sees the ghost, you know, at night, at the ending of chapter 1, and then we sort of see a continuation of that in the Zachary route, where she runs away from the ghost, the monster, whatever, and goes to Zachary's house instead, and basically spends there the night. So that explains where she was, and why she's not here.
The authorities are still trying to find the cause of death for all the victims. Early investigation revealed most of them were employed under Briar Realty Corporation at the time of death. Meanwhile, BRC has refused to comment on this.
Gathering my wits, I immediately place a call to her mobile. It rings for a good minute, the sound a comfort in itself. But when another minute rolls by without her answering, well, I'm not a woman prone to panicking. Sudden bouts of temper, maybe, but never panic, despite how I may sound when speaking. And when it ultimately goes straight to her voicemail, a sigh is the only thing I let out. The pause doesn't last long enough, though. In the next moment, my fingers are already moving across the screen in search of the two people who might be able to help. It's Ashton number I find first and dial. Of course, he's like on your speed dial, isn't he? Call the habit. But even Isabella thinks he's dependable when the situation calls for it, despite how much they give each other grief. That already says a lot about him. That there's Zachary, but around this hour, he's probably still sleeping. If he has freelance work, it's very likely he's just gotten himself in bed. He's the last person I want to bother, if anything. The wait doesn't take long. Soon, a click. Then Ashton's voice echoes through the receiver, rough and still heavy with sleep. Well, at least it's not the woman. He never did grow fond of mornings. Whoever does.
Becca? Christ, what time is it? What's up?
Not you, apparently.
Not yet.
Good one. Did you call this early just to make that joke? I'm going back to sleep.
Worth it.
No, Ash, hold on. This is important.
Becca, stakeout last night. Make this quick. I've still got a few hours before the chief bothers me.
Sorry, I'll let you go back to sleep after. It's just that... Wait, you were on a stakeout last night?
Did I say that? Shit.
Uh-oh, did you say something you weren't supposed to, Ash?
Forget I said that. Forget I said anything. Forget we had this conversation.
So, you have no idea?
About what? About what? I also have no idea why we're talking so early in the morning, so there's that.
No, will you stop sleep talking or whatever for a second?
He's like half
Belle
asleep.
didn't come home last night. She's gone.
Who?
Belle, Isabella?
Isabella!
You know, your girlfriend? Instead of an answer, a brief pause comes after, followed by something blunt and heavy hitting a hard surface, and a string of rather colorful curses from him. The moment might have been one of the many things I'll keep to myself and remember fondly the next few days, if things aren't the way they are. When he picks up again, there's no trace of sleep left in his voice.
Say that again, from the top.
She's gone, dude.
Isabella's gone, Ash. She didn't come home last night. Her flat's empty. She left her telly running. You know she doesn't do that at...
She sounds really panicked, despite saying that she never panics.
Okay, Becca, stop. Calm down first. You're starting to panic.
No, don't you forget. Becca doesn't panic.
I'm not!
You are. Breathe. One person's not going to simply disappear like that. This is Isabella we're talking about. Did you try calling her?
What did you think is the first thing I did? She's not picking up. It went to her voicemail.
How about Zach? Did you check with him?
Not yet. I didn't want to bother him. You know he has trouble sleeping and all that.
All right, I'll go ask Zach. I'll call you back.
No, wait!
He ends the call before I can utter a single word of protest. But for the first time since entering this room, tension is gone from my shoulders and my breathing has eased. The bed creaks as I sink down and don't sit on the bed. With a sigh, the telly still blares the same uninteresting news, and I'm surrounded by clutter. Yeah, people dying on the news, pretty uninteresting. All the same, it feels strangely calm to be here without worry nagging at me. I'll have to apologize to Zachary later for sending Ashton his way this early, but for now, relying on the latter for this isn't the wrong choice. It never will be. That's something I won't ever doubt in him, much like his promises. And true to his words, he calls back only a few minutes after the last one has ended.
She's with Zach.
Oh, I'm so
Whew.
glad to hear that. She could have at least sent a message last night.
What are you, her mother?
Kind of. It's the one thing it's one thing to hear that from Isabella, but from Ashton?
I don't want to hear anything like that from you.
No, because if I'm her mother, I don't want you to be dating my daughter, Ashton.
I'm serious. You've got to stop treating her like she's one of your students, Becca. You don't have to keep tabs on her every time. Last I checked, she's only 3 years younger than the two of us. That's almost a decade gap from those kids you're teaching, you know.
Says the person who keeps calling her Scaredy Cat.
Oh.
That's...
Is there something else behind the meaning of those words, huh? Scaredy cat?
That's not related at all. Anyway, I'll go check how she's doing. Don't stress yourself out. You go ahead to work.
Wait, you? Don't you have a precinct to be at? Whatever happened to not treating her like one of my students? Because if anyone's going to ask me, I think you're doing the same thing.
Zach said it's an emergency. Something happened last night.
Emergency?
He didn't put in those exact same words, but it sounded like it.
Ash, what really happened? Is Isabella fine?
She's alright. She's safe. Zach let her stay the night after she... Look, okay. Z-Man wasn't clear about it, but let me handle this. I'll check on her. I'll bring her home.
It sounds like a lie if I've ever heard one. The sort where he omits things so people won't fret. And I'm not sure but I should be happy he cares that much to do that. There shouldn't be a need for this between us. Is there? We grew up together, didn't we? He knows I'm capable of at least hearing out the truth without it gnawing at me for the rest of the day. He knows me better than that. I know him better than that. Frankly, there's plenty of other things to say about this. But despite, and after all the trouble he went through, with how things are moving at the moment, only one thought occurs to me. Wait. Why do you have to check on her, huh, Ash? Even though we know he's already going to check on her anyway, because, well, that's how it plays out in the Zack route. And we're a teacher, right? We gotta go to our work, but he's gotta go to sleep soon as well. I don't know, I feel like if I can handle it means that we're going to check on Isabella ourselves, right? But we know Ashton is going to anyway, so I guess there's no point in trying to contend him in this, because we know he's going to go there anyway. So whatever. I recognize his concern for what it is. I mean, he's just worried, right? He's just a little bit worried about what happened. Did the relationship go good? I think it was a little bit downhill, and now it returned to normal. So I guess it was a good thing we took that choice, at least for our relationship with Ash. But yeah. He's just concerned about his friend Isabella, right? It's not like there's anything going on between them. It's not new for him to go out of his way for us. And to be honest, this is what I love about him. As much as I would have loved to take this off his hands, it'll only be selfish of me to insist, considering he knows of my other commitments. To do so feels like I'll be trampling on that kindness he seldom offers to anyone.
Sorry for putting you up to this.
Nah, don't mention it. You've got other things you need to worry about. Take care of those first. This is a small thing.
I still owe you one.
Oh, I can name a few things you can do about that. You know, there's this ice cream shop that opened near the movie house. I could use...
Okay, let's stop right there. That's enough.
No ice cream for you, little boy.
On second thought, maybe I'll just think about it some other time.
Harsh.
We both laugh. The sound lighter and more comfortable. Like the old days, when a wayward 26-year-old is at the bottom of the list we need to worry about. This is how we find common ground. We may not agree on a lot of things. We may see things the way the other does, but the give and take is something we've learned to get used to over the years. Whenever it's like this, confidence in him is the least I can offer as thanks.
Really? Thanks for this, Ash.
I'll let you know what happened afterwards, I promise. I'll call you later. You have a good day. Bye.
Bye, Ash. I admit, the way he puts it isn't comforting enough. He can be blunt like that. So many unknown variables. So many words left unsaid. I wish he'd simply laid them all out in the open, because like this, I'm more inclined to think there's an exaggeration on the others' part. If it's from Zachary or Ashton, I don't know. In the end, all I can do is wait, go about my day, and hope for the best. Before leaving, I spare Isabella's room one last glance, disturbingly quiet now without her in it. I'll get answers from her later. For now, the concerns are best left here. That creaking noise! I hate creaking noises with, like, such a passion. The rest of the day slips away in a blur. Despite my best efforts in keeping this morning's events from surfacing in my mind, it sticks. In a way, everything today simply feels like a reminder. Every conversation, regardless of how casual, every topic, no matter how mundane it seems. I blame the news entirely for this. Recent happenings brought quite a few interesting stories to everyone's attention, mostly superstitious talk of death. And when locals talk about death here, anyone can sure as hell count on someone bringing up that mansion Isabella sold not a few weeks ago. It's just a natural way the conversation will gravitate towards, you know? It's like, yeah, death, and at some point in 5 minutes you'll just end up talking about the mansion. Even my own students won't stop yapping about it. I think it's even worse than when it was put back in the market. Now there are more stories. If this is the world reminding me of what matters, or simply because the atmosphere around this time of the year calls for it, I'd rather take the latter. At least then, I can be sure people will forget about it in favor of another set of holidays after. Nevertheless, this may be a painful thing to admit, but listening to them is a pleasant distraction while waiting for Ashton's call. I hope he didn't forget. The school's days is about to end soon.
No, that's got nothing with what I heard.
What the fuck? That's a male student? That sounds like a fucking grumpy 70-year-old grandpa who's like, has smoked too many cigarettes.
You always hear stuff. I'm not sure it's half of them are even real.
No, really. Rowan knows about it. He used to be in the same class with them.
Did he fucking hit puberty like really fucking early or something when he was 7?
I can hear you from back here, you know.
Rowan. Rowan is the brother of Kylie? And one strange thing that I actually didn't mention in the video back then, in the Marianne ending, is you remember that sort of camera scene we saw, right, with the teenagers that wanted to pull a prank at the mansion? Rowan's name was actually mentioned in that. I heard it kind of slipped my mind at that moment that Rowan, you know, that it's that particular character, the brother of Kylie. Because I thought the person that was sort of holding the camera and the girl voice I heard, I thought it sounded a little similar to Hana's voice. So I thought maybe it was like Hana back when she was like a teenager or something, you know, and it went here. I thought it was something that video, at least, the camera thing was from a long time ago. But it seems to be pretty fresh. It just, the voice sounded a bit similar, but I don't even think Hana went to St. Goretti's anyway. But yeah, it seems to have been something that happened fairly recently with students from this school. And they somehow, I don't remember anything, but Rowan's name was definitely mentioned in it. Which should always be a pretty clear indication that it's something that happened recently and not 20, 30 years ago or whatever.
Whatever, Rowan.
Rowan.
Anyway, the story goes like this. There were 3 of them. They entered the mansion on a dare, and they were all never seen again.
Isn't that exactly what the video showed? The
no
camera?
one knows what happened to them. Up to this day.
Damn.
Scary shit, man.
Scary shit, man.
Cock and bull story. Calling it now.
No, you don't get it.
It's actually true.
Why don't you ask Miss Gales then? Better yet, why don't you go inside the place? I'm betting my allowance you can't do it.
Their talk immediately halts when I look up, all of them suddenly pretending to be engrossed in their current activity. Still, a word to put a stopper to this nonsense is needed. Creativity and imagination fostered by these stories is one thing, but reckless ideas should be corrected before anything potentially tragic comes from it.
Back to your worksheets, everyone. And I don't want to hear any talk of dares or going inside that mansion. It's private property now. You'd all better stay away from it before
Luke kills you! What the At the noise, the whole lot of them go silent. You can almost hear a pin drop. The look on their faces would have made for a funny picture, but that's irrelevant at the moment. If that's a student loitering around, someone's going to be in trouble.
I'll be back. If you're done, you can leave your worksheets on my desk. Keep the noise to a minimum while I'm gone, okay?
What the fuck was that? It sounded like someone banging on like a... what's it called? Not closets. Lockers. I can sense their eyes on me as I walk out the door. A muted kind of anticipation. A bit unnerving, but it's far more agreeable than the feeling of being watched that I've been enduring these past few days. Class is still in session for most of the rooms. Yeah, see, we got lockers in the hall room here. Could have been just some snot-nosed kid that was angry, just like banging on it. In a few hours, once the final bell rings, however, this place will once again be filled with busy chatter and footfalls, an everyday cycle in itself. But for the moment, I let the silence guide me, my ears focusing on whatever sounds there are or there will be, searching for that distinct clanging of metal. A good minute passes, and for the portion of it, only my steps echoes through the halls. And another. And I'm about to turn around when the sound of it halts my footsteps again. What? It's a little muffled and infrequent, but grows louder after each interval. With the hallway devoid of people, if I don't put a stop to it soon, it'll start to disrupt the other classes still going on. God damn it again! Looking for it doesn't take long. All I do is follow the racket, and shortly, I'm standing in front of a nondescript row of unoccupied lockers. Oh no, is someone trapped inside? Oh, motherfucker. Oh no! I thought it was just someone from the outside banging on it, you know? But I didn't think it could actually be someone stuffed inside of a locker, like banging on it from the inside, like, help me, help me! And from inside one of them, sitting in the middle, comes a noise, annoyingly disruptive now that I'm facing it. Like someone's pounding on a metal door from the inside, hoping to get out. Leaning forward, I try to get a glimpse through the horizontal slats of whatever's causing it. That's what I would do too, or just like grab my phone and, you know, put on the flashlight and then shine it through the horizontal slats to see what, if anything, is in there. But in this light, only darkness greets me and another round of clanging, louder than the previous one. More desperate. I've heard stories before from other schools, from a few colleagues who had to deal with this once or twice. Yeah, this is, I mean, come on. It couldn't be the ghost or anything inside, right? It's just some kid that got bullied or something, and he's stuffed in a locker. You know, everyday school activities. Although, personally, I've never encountered one myself, and I can only thank the heavens I haven't yet. But that's about to change.
If this is another kid some other student stuffed in a locker.
With a huff, I straighten up and study it briefly with a frown. Without delay, I reach for its handle, and at once, it stops, immediately replaced by the muffled sound of a mobile phone ringing. I give the door a few raps before taking my attention away. A second, another. When nothing or no one responds, I finally avert my eyes and pull out my mobile. What? It's Ashton? God damn it! What about the locker? Ashton's voice greets me from the other end of the line, oddly cheerful in light of his morning matters. Or maybe because I'm just expecting some grave or serious news from him. Instead, I get this.
Hey, Becca.
Hey, Ash.
Well, you sound happy.
I do? My voice still sounds the same to me.
There are only two things I know of that could be the reason for that tone. Sweets. Or he's gotten a good lead in his case. From the sound of it, I'm going to assume it's the former, since lately, that case is all that's running inside his head. Even if there's ever a third one, I've never heard of it, yet. It can only be one of two.
Ignore that. How's Isabella?
Got her home a few minutes ago. I think she's sleeping now. Sorry this took a while. Z-Man gave us the puppy eyes after we tried to leave. Had some food prepared for us, apparently.
Yep,
I
gave him the good old puppy eyes.
That's alright.
And they couldn't say no.
Is she okay now?
I'm not really sure. She didn't say anything to Zach, but she mentioned a plan to take a few days off from work. It was a passing comment before I left her, so I didn't get to ask.
Must be because of Rose's death.
Could be. It doesn't seem like it from Zach's story, though.
No, it's something else entirely.
He said she was shaking when she got there.
Shaking?
Like a leaf. The word triggers a memory from 3 days ago. On the way home from her little treat after she sold the mansion. I didn't think much of it at the time, but I won't lie. It scared me. The terrified look on her face. How she sounded when she suddenly screamed.
Becca? Still there?
Yeah, I just remembered something. Sorry, don't mind me.
Look, if you can talk to her, get the story out of her. That would be great. She wouldn't talk to Zach or me even when I tried.
I'll try, I guess.
Maybe she'll speak up if it's you.
I'll give it a go, but I can't promise anything, okay? You know how stubborn she can get. But thanks for letting me know about this. If you want, I can get you that ice cream thing you mentioned tonight. As thanks.
You know, if you want to meet up alone, maybe? Maybe, please, Ashton, Ash.
Just as thanks for all the trouble I've caused today.
Believe me, I'd love to take you up on that offer, but I've got something on my schedule this evening. Maybe some other time?
God damn it, Ash, why you gotta break my heart?
Thanks a lot, Becca.
There's a short pause before he cuts the call from his end, and once again, I'm alone with my thoughts. But rather than answers, all I got from it are questions. More of them, one on top of the other, as if the world isn't planning to give me a break anytime soon. But that's a problem I'll tackle later. What about the closet, the locker? Right now, I've got students who need to be taught follies of eavesdropping. If the slightly open door and their smothered laughter from inside is an indication.
Alright, enough eavesdropping. All of you, back to your seats.
Is that your boyfriend, Miss Gales?
None of your business.
He totally is.
A quick scuffle follows that comment. If there's a retort prepared at the tip of my tongue, I drop every pretense of letting it loose on them. There's no use arguing with teenagers sometimes, boisterous as they all are. They're still my kids though, rough around the edges maybe, but still my kids. Shaking my head. Oh shit. Uh-oh. I head back to my classroom with a smile, but not before taking a glance at the locker again. It hasn't made a sound since.
Oh, must be the wind.
Sure, wind on the inside. Yeah, definitely. There was just like a tiny tornado inside of the fucking locker. So without another look, I leave it alone. Fuck, boy, you gotta make that sound. All in all, the entire school day ends without a hitch. Sure, if you call fucking blood leaking out of the closet lockers. Why do I keep saying closet instead of lockers? Lockers. You know, if you call that without a hitch. It could have gone better, mind you, but with the exams nearing, getting out of work before the sun has set looks as though it's a far-off dream for now. At least until they're over. Then we have the holidays to look forward to. There really are times when you simply take what you can get for the time being.
Nothing wrong with that.
All I'm hoping for is that this will continue until the whole day ends. There's still that promise I made to Ashton, and frankly, the idea alone doesn't sound good. If Isabella didn't talk to them, what makes them think that she'll talk to me? It's not like there's a hierarchy, is there? Just because I can handle Isabella's childish tendencies doesn't mean I can do it all the time.
Really, those two give me too much credit.
Nevertheless, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, if only because I'm also worried about her, and both Zachary and Ashton deem it important that somebody gets the story out of her. Here's to hoping it's got nothing to do with that letter, again. I understand if she feels a bit stressed lately, but keeping that story going on for more than a week is... it's bound to get tiring at one point. Seriously, I really don't want this thing to end in another argument. God willing, the cafe's special will help smooth things out. After all, it's always been food with her. Or money. Or Ashton, but mostly food. At this hour, the cafe is usually filled to the brim with people. That's the reason Isabella and I rarely ever go here during the evenings. It's simply too much of a hassle when we can prepare food ourselves in the comfort of our homes, and there really isn't much reason to eat out lately. What with life going on a busy street, it's a bit weird. Like, we can have this conversation. We live next to each other, right? It's not like we meeting in the cafe here is like meeting each other at the halfway point from both of our houses or work or whatever. No time for long lines. Better spend that doing something productive. Yes?
Lucky there isn't one tonight.
Only few people are idling around the counter. 4 of them, in fact. A woman in her 60s, and a teenager busy with his phone. Both are just waiting to be served their orders. Oh, why do I... The other 2, a posh-looking man and a child, who I immediately recognize as Kylie, appears to have not yet picked anything they want. Look at how huge... I never actually noticed this because we always pretty much saw Kylie standing there alone, right? But look at how huge Kylie's head is. It's like twice the size of fucking Luke's head. Like, you know, kids in general have bigger heads, right? Because your head doesn't grow as much compared to the rest of your body. Later, you know, the older you get. But still, Kylie's head is huge. Holy shit. For some reason, the stare lingers at the guy. Though dressed relatively well and looks harmless. Haven't seen him around these parts before. This is weird though. Why is Luke alone with Kylie? I didn't know you were fucking into kids too, dude. Someone new in the neighborhood, perhaps? Even so, there's something familiar in him. It feels like I've seen him somewhere before. That also begs the question of why Kylie is with him. I mean, that's kinda simple, cause they're family. Of course, the girl easily takes a liking to anyone who buys her sweets, so it's both a bit worrisome and unsurprising. The blonde bloke doesn't look particularly thrilled with the company, though. I tear my eyes away from them soon enough, once the guy at the counter appears, ready to take my order. That, and I'd also hate to be accused of ogling strangers.
2, evening special, takeout.
He's already punching the order before I can even finish. Saying my order out loud is really more formality's sake than made out of habit. He has known Isabella and I long enough that if we ever drop by here, he already knows it's because I'm buying dinner for the 2 of us. I rarely visit her alone if I can help it, but Isabella can sometimes be a bad influence. He gives a small smile before leaving to prepare my order, while I fish for my wallet, when...
You little ankle biter. if I buy you the biggest parfait they have, will you please behave? I would just like 10 minutes of peace and quiet.
I mean, it's no surprise that Luke is the type of dude that does not like kids, right?
You said you'll get me some bread pudding this time.
Yes, mister.
Yeah, well, darling, they said they ran out of it. Just pick another one so we can be on our way.
But no, I want bread pudding.
That parfait doesn't look as cute as the one my mom bought me.
Parfait is just ice cream, sweetheart. It'll melt no matter how dainty it appears. In the end, it'll all look like an ugly puddle. Now come on, just pick one. It could even be the most expensive one on that list. I don't give a shit.
Hey. Language, mister. Language around kids.
I don't care.
At least he kind of corrected himself.
What I would give for someone to buy you off my hands right now.
Damn. What? My whole attention instantly snaps back to them and their conversation. Jumping to conclusions isn't something I'm particularly fond of, especially when all I have are baseless assumptions. But you can't really trust a stranger these days. No one around the cafe seems to have noticed his words either. Very suspicious words. Still, I don't move. Yet. But my hands already shifted from my wallet to the book I'm carrying. A hardbound textbook. Looks harmless, but if the situation calls for it, it might be a good deadly weapon. Really, we're just like, oh, if he says one more bad thing about Kylie, we're fucking gonna hit him with the book. Might. I haven't gotten the chance to try it anywhere so far. Today could be the day.
But you promised.
Look, if you don't want a parfait, how about a Bonifay pie? I'm sure it'll taste just as good as any other bread pudding.
It's not the same, mister.
I'll even buy you the entire tray. How does that sound?
That's not what you said before.
Well, sweetheart, adults change their minds sometimes.
You said if I come with you, you'll buy me a bread pudding, and I did, and now you won't keep your promise.
This sounds a lot like he just, he's luring her with sweet foods and then going to kidnap her. It sounds a lot like that.
I want to go home. I miss my mom.
Oh, she's starting to cry. Oh no, Kylie.
No, darling, if I remember correctly, and I have a good memory, honey. What I said was, if you come quietly with me, I might buy you one.
You're not making it sound any better, dude.
The quiet part didn't happen. Though now that I'm sober, I think this is a bad idea. And I should just ship you someplace else for that peace and quiet.
Dude. Oh, that's it. No hesitation, even though that we know, their family, right? The way that Luke says things and the way he words his sentences just really makes it suspicious for a person who doesn't know they're related. It really makes it sound like he just, lured her and is trying to kidnap her. In a few paces, he's within my reach, and without warning, I'm slamming the flat area of the book against his skull. There's a cry of pain, followed by him instantly crouching down, hands nursing the sore spot. Almost comically, if there were a different situation and the safety of a St. Grady student isn't at stake, I'll probably feel sorry for him. I mean, has anyone even seen how thick this book is? It's fucking thicker than Kim Kardashian's ass.
Get behind me, Kylie.
Miss Pink!
Kylie! It's amusing how fast her expression changes from the pouty one earlier to something that utter of delight upon seeing me. There's no time for any pleasantries, not even quick ones, because soon the man straightens and I'm readying my favorite newfound weapon for another hit. Except this time, he's ready, and before I can land another one, his hand shoots up to catch my wrist in a firm hold. Oh no! We're like fighting, and the look on his face, oh damn, that's an evil look if I've ever seen one.
Bloody hell, woman, what's your problem?
It doesn't matter what the fuck you did. At some point you deserve to be hit by a book, okay? By a thick ass book on your skull. Damn it, Luke. I love how they just call him kidnapper too. To say he's pissed will be a complete understatement. Had I been the weak-willed sort, I'd probably cower under his sharp gaze. Look at how his eyes are twitching back and forth. You can actually see the hate. The hate is moving its eyes. But that simply isn't how I roll. If he thinks he can scare me and do as he pleases here, just because I'm a woman, or whatever his reasons may be, he's got another thing coming for him. So instead, I return it to him with the same intensity, with the same venom.
What's my problem? You're the one who has a problem here. Rotten bowbags like you don't deserve the freedom to roam this town. What are you doing to this girl?
And why is that any of your business, pray tell?
Oh, it's my business if I make it to be. Now, release me or I'll call the police.
Oh, you think that scares me, Daisy?
I'm pretty sure Luke just has the police like wrapped around his finger, right? That's usually what a lot of rich people do. They just pay off the police basically.
I have a name, you sleazy douchebag.
Oh, I'm sure.
His grip on my hand only tightens while I attempt to shake it off. His tone may be dripping with anger and sarcasm, but the gleam in his eye says it all. He's getting a kick out of this. Of course, he fucking loves this shit for some reason. Riling people up, getting on their nerves, invading their personal space. He knows exactly what and which buttons to push. The nerve of this person. The nerve of this arsehole. Arse. I love the word arse. If he thinks I'm going to give in to his goading, please, he might as well just kiss his sorry behind. In fact, why not do the most sensible thing right now? Teach him a tough lesson, hit him where it hurts, shout for help. Oh no. Any opportunity that I get to inflict physical pain upon Luke, motherfucking right, I'm gonna take it, okay?
Mister, you have until the count of 5 to let me go and step out of my personal space.
I don't give a fuck if our relationship goes to hell, okay? Who cares about Luke anyway, right? Fuck that dude. A fair warning. Fairer than any I can offer for people of this kind. And I'm already being considerate. Hell, this arsehole doesn't even deserve a warning. If he doesn't listen, well, he's as much responsible for what will happen next as anyone.
Or else what?
Oh god, his eyes just turned huge.
Such vulgar words coming out of that pretty mouth. A gorgeous flower like you shouldn't even be saying.
He's kind of like, he's certainly getting a kick out of this shit.
Don't say I didn't warn you, bowbag.
Love that intensity, Daisy.
Oh, dude! Oh, fuck!
FYI, I like feisty in a woman. It gives them this certain charm.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, dude!
Why don't you?
You're married, you know?
5.
A second of silence. Then, without a preamble, my legs moves in one fluid motion and delivers a swift, powerful, well-placed kick to his netherreach. Oh, fuck him in the bow bags, right in the balls. Needless to say, the effect is instantaneous. This is the best day of my life. Luke got kicked in the balls. He yelps, abruptly drops his hold on me, and kneels over, howling from the pain. I mean, you know, this doesn't hurt him as much because usually if you kick a person in the ball, you say like, ha, no kids for you. But I guess Luke doesn't even want kids, so we're actually kind of helping him out. Fuck, but it still hurts him a lot, so that's the good thing. I can see tears forming at the corners of his eyes too, though the mere sight of it prompts not an ounce of remorse for me. I would have been gentler if he isn't such a dirty little prick with an ego too big for his head. Too bad. Whether this obliterates any chance of him ever procreating remains to be known, but a part of me is already praying he doesn't ever breed after this. We have no need of more of him in his world. That's true, part of us, like, the rest of the world doesn't want other little Luke Wrights running around, right?
You mad woman!
I warned you, you ass!
Isn't this what you liked, huh? This is what you wanted, Luke?
Why this is harassment, I'm telling you! Harassment!
What is harassment?
Then why don't you tell that to the police once they get here,
You despicable! Whatever you're assuming I am, I'll have you know it's all in your head. None of it's true.
Yeah. As much as I fucking hate the dude, he's right here, right?
You best have that pretty brain of yours checked before that gets worse. What is wrong with you? Is this the face of someone who'd do anything suspicious?
Yes. Yes, Luke, right? You have that kind of face. I gotta admit, I got that kind of face too, okay?
Oh? You don't think a stranger luring an innocent child with promises of sweets before whisking them away from their parents doesn't warrant any suspicion? You have a very funny definition of suspicious, asshole. Maybe you're the one who should have that head of yours checked.
I love the fact that even though, like, you know, you as the player or watching or whatever, having played the previous chapters, You know that they're related, right? But you still get the option as Rebecca to kinda fuck up and assume that you don't know that they're related and assume that he is kidnapping her.
The kid asked me to buy her sweets. You're the one who's suspicious here.
Oh, sure, the kid wanted to be kidnapped, huh? Is that how it is? Is that how it is, Luke?
I'll have you know, I have a wife!
So that never stopped anybody from kidnapping kids before. That much, at least, appears to have a sliver of truth to it. He even makes a show of brandishing his left hand to my face with much flourish. Sure enough, a wedding ring is there, though all that earned him is an unimpressed glare for me. Immediately, a small part of me starts to feel sorry for whatever poor woman married this sod. It's actually the woman we're going to be visiting soon at their, welcome party. I don't understand why he has to bring her up either, as the mention of her alone magically presents a solution to his problem. She must truly be a remarkable woman if she can handle a dirtbag like him.
And even my wife of all people in this bloody city, has never, I'm telling you, accused me of such a scandalous thing! You crazy woman!
Holy shit! I mean, yeah, okay, I get it. Hana's never accused you of kidnapping kids, but she has accused you of cheating and shit.
Married or not, you're still a sleaze. Honestly, I feel...
Miss Pink, why are you fighting with my Teal?
Dun dun dun. This is where it all falls apart for Rebecca. This is the moment where she realized she fucked up. It's like, Teal? Whatever words still left to be said here dies on my tongue. The same thing goes for the sleaze. Beside us stands Kylie, gawking at us with that same curious stare she often brings with her. I know that look all too well. A precocious child through and through. This is weird because we were kind of like poor little Kylie saw her uncle and one of her teachers at her school sort of fight with each other. She must be confused as hell, like, why is this happening right now? She doesn't say anything further. Her gaze simply moves between us, eyeing us both carefully, clearly anticipating an answer. From my experience, when it gets like this with children her age, it is sure a sign they won't leave you until you've given them an answer they're satisfied with. Lying won't do either. It is dissolved into a shouting match for heaven's sake. And did she just say, Teal? Something falls straight to the pit of my stomach in that. Yep, you fucked up, Rebecca. But it was all worth it, okay? It was all worth it just to fucking hit Luke right in the balls. And with the book. But my tone is gentle when I finally address her, void of any apprehension and what might be the first hints of embarrassment. I pointedly ignore the latter. It could very well just be the hunger speaking.
Kylie, sweetie, do you know this oaf?
Yeah, he's Teal Luke.
Teal Luke. Right at the moment, my brain stops. Every line of thought, every argument I still have against the man beside me dissipates in a haze. Amidst all of it, one memory gets triggered from a few days ago.
Teal? The one you mentioned before?
Yep.
The uncle? The guy Rowan wanted to impress?
Yep.
Or was that a dare? I'm sorry, I can't recall. Is it the one who promised he'll take Big Brother someplace cool?
Yeah, the one and the same. Don't you know who he is?
I do now. Boy, what an introduction we had. I sure as hell don't, darling. Because if I do, I wouldn't have let everything I've said earlier come out of my mouth.
He's my Teal Luke. Gazillionaire extraordinaire and the fairy godfather.
Gazillionaire extraordinaire.
He's your godfather.
Oh.
That's...
Okay, so not blood related, not family related, but godfather.
That's nice.
The one and only. Did I get that right, Teal?
More than right, sweetheart. I'm sure Miss Pink here understood everything you said quite perfectly.
Yep, and she's a bit ashamed, but she doesn't regret kicking you in the nuts. Whatever it is that landed at the bottom of my stomach prior, I shot straight up to my face and stayed there, the heat from it slowly spreading to my cheeks, coloring my face in almost the same shade as my hair. If only the earth would swallow me whole here and now. His eyes are on me. I can feel them, jeering, mocking. I can't even bring myself to look at him. What's in there? Amusement? I doubt it. He's probably having the time of his life right now. But I know. I can hear the sneer in his tone alone when he talks. He has that smug grin on him, which I may or may not want to punch off his face at present. Just for the hell of it, just do it. Just do it. You already kicked him in the nuts, just punch him along as well. But damage control. I need to do some damage control before this whole thing goes out. No. There's no point. I'm not gonna apologize to Luke. I'm gonna apologize to Kylie. Of course, an apology is the most appropriate thing to say. I'm fucking this up so bad with Luke, but it's technically not fucking it up if this is the thing that I want to happen, right? Although, making an enemy out of Luke, considering he's the very last chapter with almost everyone, right? I feel like I've done that with pretty much every single character I've played. Like, look at this. Isabella didn't have any interactions with Luke. Hannah, the relationship went south with Luke. With Zachary. No, he didn't have any interaction with him. Marianne, that went south really quick, cause fuck whiskey. And now I'm kind of deteriorating the relationship here too. I'm not sure if that's a smart idea, you know? Because Luke, for the most part, as the things that we know about him, he's a fucking dirtbag and shit, at least what I think. But there's still a lot of him that remains a mystery, and I'm pretty sure it'll come into playing the Ashton route because he's investigating Luke as well, and then during his own route as well. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll see if it actually is a good decision to make an enemy out of him with everyone or not. Whatever. Was it? Of course, an apology is the most appropriate thing to say, but no matter how much I will myself to do it, my own body refuses to budge. My own mouth refuses to open, and my head rejects the very idea of looking at him. No apology for an asshole. Not to mention with an ego too big for his head. Yeah, his ego would fit better in Kylie's head than his own. Let his pride suffer. I'm not going to eat my words for the sake of stroking his damn ego. There's less reason for him to gloat. Kylie, however, I owe an explanation.
Don't worry, Kylie. I'm not fighting with your Tio. This is just, a discussion. A very serious discussion between a very mature adult and one that's not.
Guess who is the one that's not?
Really? But I've never seen Tio angry before.
It's because he's losing the argument. Don't ever follow his example, Kylie. You should always learn to be patient, even if things aren't going your way, okay?
Oh sure, a discussion. And it involves hitting random strangers you meet at a cafe with a book.
Well, you know, sometimes it's a heated discussion.
A hardbound book. Mind you, the little me hasn't recovered yet.
Oh, it's little, huh?
My future generation never survives from this. We are going to have more than words, woman!
I don't allow Kylie to hear his tirade and cover both of her ears with my hands. As fond as she is of the man, there are words he shouldn't be saying in front of a child. How can he not know about that? More importantly, how on earth did someone like him become a godfather? Who allowed it? I mean, godfather is basically just, the parents choose you as if anything ever happens to them, the child goes to you, right? If everybody else in the family dies for whatever reason at the same time, Kylie, to prevent her from being an orphan, she goes to Luke instead, and Luke has to take care of him. I'm pretty sure that's it, because I'm a godfather of two kids, in the Philippines as well, just because, I don't know, they always pick me and my cousin and my sister for everything, and they make babies like fucking rabbits over there, so yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's what it means, and you have to buy them presents and shit. And probably the only reason he got picked is because he's rich, and he can actually do those things properly for the godchild. Maybe I should talk to Miss Suarez about it. Warn her how he's not a good influence for her children.
Language! How can you use such crude words in front of her? Your goddaughter can hear you, for heaven's sake.
Oh, and you didn't. If I remember everything correctly, you called me a rotten bone.
Hey!
So you're going to repeat it in front of her, just to make a point? What, are you 5? Even 5-year-olds are more sensible than you.
Even Kylie is more sensible than you. Even Isabella. I can say that with much certainty.
Even 5-year-olds are more sensible than you.
Okay, he's an actual fucking child, okay? Who the fuck even mockingly repeats whatever the fuck you just said?
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you fighting again?
Still. We're still fighting.
Oh, no, no, no. Like I said, we were just having a discussion. We're actually done now. But you need to promise Miss Pink you will never grow up like this guy. Good kids don't do what he's doing.
He's a bad boy.
But I like Tio.
You like his money.
And I'm quite sure Tio likes you too. But liking people is different. Just because you like him doesn't mean you have to be like him.
Got him.
There are better role models for you aside from him.
Like you?
Not really.
Not exactly what I'm trying to get at. But if that's what you want, I don't see why not.
You can look at me as a role model. It's not particularly a good choice, though, I'd say.
Okay, I want to be like Miss Pink someday. I want to be a teacher,
You change your mind that quickly?
and I promise I won't be like Tio, even if he's a gazillionaire.
You can be the gazillionaire part, that's fine. You can earn a shit ton of money.
Wow. Turning my own goddaughter against me.
You deserved it.
How mature of you, Miss Pink.
His tone makes me pause. There was this hint of sadness in his voice. For the first time since this talk started, I look at him. Briefly, something flashes behind his eyes. Something close to what might be an expectation falling. Dismay? I can't be sure. It passes almost as soon as it appears. What's that about? Does he actually like having Kylie around? It doesn't seem like it from the get-go. But if that fond smile of him is anything to judge by, then maybe...
Don't worry, Tio. If you buy me bread pudding tonight, I'll like you again.
Aw, if that's all it takes, consider it done, sweetheart.
It's so easy to win over the affection of kids, isn't it? Just buy them stuff.
We might have to find another place to buy it from, though. Somewhere safe, where a random crazy woman isn't going to attack us out of the blue.
I don't know, there are a lot of random crazy women in the world.
Let's go.
Okay. Bye, Miss Pink. I still like you, just not more than Tio anymore.
Aww, really?
See you.
That fuck. Kylie's already pulling him to the cafe's exit before he can protest on it. Although, it's not like there's anything to object on further. I may view that man, Luke, as someone hateful, maybe to the point of seeing him as an eyesore, but I don't think that'll have any bearing on what the child thinks of him. When you think about it, if she admires him so much like that, then maybe there's still something agreeable in him. A part of him only Kylie sees. I mean, yeah, that's gotta be a part that only Kylie sees, because trust me, I don't see it. I don't think anybody else sees it. He still has the gall to wink at me before they both disappear behind the door, so maybe not. However, there's no moment to ponder about it. Seconds later, the guy at the counter waves me over and hands me a paper bag as soon as I paid. He offers me another smile before I leave. Normally, I return it simply for the sake of returning it, or I don't at all, with the latter happening more commonly. For the time being, I do so freely. After that encounter and the scene we've caused, seeing a friendly gesture being extended to me, albeit from a person I barely know on a personal level, it feels like a reassurance, despite bearing no promise of better days. I take what little I can of it with me as I step out into the night. A cloudless night sky greets me when I walk out of the cafe. Beyond the tall buildings, a blanket of stars spreads out before me. Isabella once told me that the best place to view it is someplace outside the city, away from the noise and the obtrusive lights. She'd seen it once in her mom's hometown, and another time in a university she used to attend. Then she asked if it's possible to try it out here sometime. I agreed with her at the time, if only because she appeared excited at the mere prospect of it. We made those little plans along with Zachary and Ashton, though up until now, we never got around it. Even so, I find myself enjoying this, despite being told it's only half the experience. Little things, you know, stuff you learn to appreciate when you're alone, because at certain times, you get to meet people who are unfortunately born with the innate talent to ruin the mood and the scene with their mere existence alone. For example, the very driver of the car fast approaching my direction. Luckily, he doesn't notice me, but the fleeting moment we pass each other by gives me a brief glance of the people he's with. Oh, what the fuck? Kylie's sitting on the back seat with a serving of bread pudding in her hands. Why is that woman sitting next to him? And beside him? It must be his wife. If that's his fucking wife, that's not Hana. Oh god. He takes a turn and disappears at the nearest corner. But throughout the night, that cursory glimpse of all things that bother me has left me wondering what kind of person his wife is. Why the fuck did I, like, what? She was just like calmly sitting next to him. She wasn't even like, you know, looking my way, trying to creep me out or something. It's just like she was in the passenger seat and it was like, la 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 la, you know? I guess I'm going home with my lovely husband Luke. Like, what if that woman actually likes Luke, right? The ghost actually likes Luke. I mean, you know, evil and evil together, probably. Although we don't know if the ghost is evil, like, you know, but she looks evil, that's the thing. She may be just a victim of other people's crimes, which is why she's remains here as a ghost, but still. Just because she looks scary and evil, I immediately think she's evil. Or has done evil things. I don't know. And more than that, is a silent prayer to the universe. I hope I don't ever cross paths with that douche again.